Hello, my family. Welcome to Sherix Broadcast Network, the place where we bring Africa live to wherever you are around the globe. Of course, it's a delight to us on June 24th, 2018, to come to you guys again with a special broadcast today. Of course, wherever you are around the globe, we want to take opportunity of this moment for officially welcome you to Sherix Broadcast Network. And of course, for appreciate you for following us, for watching our programs, and of course for supporting us either through comments or otherwise. Of course, Mina Ibrahim Sharif, I'm here for being our host now. So today for the next hour or so, and of course today we're not get for spend long time now. So we get just few things then we get for talk about today exclusively. Today we get for do a little bit of analysis of the conversation where the former flag bearer, or the presidential candidate for the All People's Congress, Dr. Samura Kamara been get with AYV TV journalists. They get a very lengthy conversation about Sierra Leone and about the country, about the current government, of course, and the governance style of the SLPP. And so we want to check into that because he was supposed to have been the president of Sierra Leone if he had won the just concluded elections in the country. But it happened not for win that election there. And so if they profile in views on how this current government they rule, then of course now something that one the way is necessary for level go check into. And that is exactly what we are going to do here today at Sherix Broadcast Network. And of course we go get Naya we own we own brother we now Mr. Patrick Bundu, of course we're resident in Houston, Texas. We now a concerned Sierra Leonean, very intellectual, very much concerned about events and way they unfold in the country, and a get for profile and views on some of the things that we got to talk about today. And so we also get for talk about the First Lady we visit Geneva for talk exclusively on child prostitution in Sierra Leone. And of course, we also get for bring come to the very first 90 days of the SLPP government, waiting day next. And so now some of them here, so we get for bring come to today. And so one for me, stick around as we continue for bring the programs to you. Stick around with us. Yes, of course, my family, last week we've been get for bring come to a very exclusive programming on the musical artist of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean musical identity. Of course, right now we try for put modalities in place for see if we go able for bring some of the musical artists' names so that we'll go able for hold a discussion on the Sierra Leonean musical identity and waiting then they do for make a positive contribution towards that identity, because just like I've been telling last time, music is very powerful, and so anything where you decide for put into music, you get for know waiting you they put into that music. And so we get for talk with them, and then we will bring them come back and we will discuss very pertinent information about music generally. And so, my family want for me gonna stick around as we continue for bring the programs to. Stick around with us.
It's Cammy, baby.
It's my
Kabaka ENT, in case you don't know.
I don't fall for you, don't fall for you.
My booty.
Oh no 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 no.
Crack twists and Sam's are there.
Oh baby, what you feeling is true. Feeling is true. Even when you smile, my cat, I can see it in you. See it in you. my love. There is no one like you. Oh baby, I'm all here for you. For you to let other boy go, baby to come see me. For you to let focus see, baby for can see me. It shows this love is real. It shows this love is big. It shows this love is true. For this, I want to marry you today, Magadi. Oh baby, I want to marry you with no delay, no delay. Just say you do, just say you do, girl. My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do,
Baby, I do.
my love, just say you do. I mean that.
I know the axe if I get mate. I know the axe but me ex or the next cause I get fit. All of the axe now for one green finger for fix down me ring cause I desperate. They don't the axe if I get rich, but I get them cruise. Them pack na me estate. Call me Samza. Just wait, I just start to express me love and no rest. You travel come over, see Kanaya. I don't patiently wait for you, Adenaya. Let we pray for we love and small fortune and avoid them plabber for small thing. You go to give me a one them dry eye, I go marry you san them. Let we left talk give them. We go to spot thing give them.
My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do.
Baby, I do.
My love, just say you do. I mean that, If you like me, then throw cut a pot of envy. I'm here for you. Say me not go give you anything. Baby say he don't see something. Oh nah, something better, something sweeter, something nicer. Girl.
Baby, I do.
Something better, something sweeter.
Baby, I do.
Something better, something sweeter. I mean that. I mean that. Say baby Tiggy, just say you do. And so carry the wet you. Just say you do. Baby, baby. Red Bull, na 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 na. Got twisted Santa.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we want to say thank you very much for hanging out with us. Of course, you know, I get one quick thing where I want to start this broadcast with, where not a correction where somebody, you know, make to we. It's a little correct myself, and so I want to do that correction, where it could be very difficult for me to do as well, you know. Well, you know, we in a Sherix Broadcast Network, we operate because of the comments that we get from the inputs that we make, you know, as to the broadcast. So somebody get for call me candidly and tell me, say Ibrahim, he say I like you show, I like una programs, I like everything una they do and professionally, just like any other television network. He said the only thing we I be one for tell you for me stuff for do. Now where you they say too much of course, you know, any talk what they talk, you say they say of course. Yes, I agree with that person. I agree with you. I they say a lot of course, but you know, we all get with small habits there. It just used to me. And I don't know, I get for try very hard for make us see if I go able for stop for use of course, plenty time. But you know, I feel say necessary for make I go brand come to una. I know say some of una they won't don't talk nothing about that, but sometimes they and bother una. It's okay. It's not easy for make us stop for user. Even while they talk, they use of course plenty. But I just glad when somebody pick up and get in mind, he call me, tell me, you know, I appreciate that. So I am going to work on it. It not go easy. So if they hear me at the use, of course, do ya bear with me at the work on them, but it not go easy. I mean, just check yourself no more. So until you say get one small habit where you use all the time, where you don't even know, pass somebody point to you, but then once they point to you, now for even work on it become more difficult. So now that, so I apologize to everybody, all right, if it bother you. But anyway, so moving forward, somebody asked a question. He say, if we not the Fox News of the SLPP, well, we not Sherix Broadcast Network, and as you know, we always stand for the truth. We always, speak truth to the powers, and of course, we not the pan ben. We talk straight. So anything where they happen, I would talk about. All right. So I don't feel specifically now for SLPP. It just happens to the way with political trends, then they unfold. Now the country, they make like where you talk anything. If you really want for talk, honest talk, anything where you talk, it go there against the APC. Because of how they rule the country, because of how they don't conduct themselves, in the past. And so if you did talk honest talk, you did talk straight, any talk where you talk about the Sierra Leonean political system, especially in the past, 34 years, you not go talk anything good about APC. So possibly when they look at it objectively, you go feel say you there against the APC or you not SLPP, right? So if now NGC be win this election, sometimes I go to talk say, is this the Fox News for the NGC? Because everything we go to talk now in line with what the NGC they do, because it go there against what the APC don't do, right? So one for let people that understand that way, they will not let people that take a personal, for say, we they try for do things in that manner. But anyway, my family, first of all, we want to start this week here so with the president and all of his cabinet ministers is summon them to a dinner, for me then go talk about the 90 days where they done the empower in Sierra Leone. And at that dinner they get for invite some expatriates then we don't work in more than 50 countries for help them countries and they for succeed in implementing policy agendas. And so then people then they come now that very dinner they then teach them, give them some ideas, the ministers, all the MDAs, ministers, departmental heads and agency heads, then give them very serious insight into how you go able for succeed as a government. Just like where the president during the time where the campaign they talk say one for bring free education, especially in primary and secondary schools, and so then get for help and for know how it go able for succeed with that. And plenty other things then. So it look like say if them follow this way so sometime that's go able for make them possible for Sierra Leone's problem could be finally solved. And so we'll get for bring that very information to you right now for Moku go see how it happened. All right? Stick around.
This retreat, in my view, provides a unique opportunity to set priorities on how to focus on delivering on our new direction priorities.
In less than 3 months, we have formed the full cabinet, and also they are meeting for the very first time for them to understand and know the issues and what's the vision of the president and for how they will be able to deliver that.
Effective management of the state requires effective management of the resources itself. And to effectively manage the resources themselves, they must be able to work as a team. It's a teamwork.
It's a very important moment for the government. They can build a team, they can identify and clarify their priorities, and they can begin to think about how to implement them so they make change for ordinary people across Sierra Leone. The expertise I bring is that I've worked in 50 or 60 different countries on helping governments deliver reform, education reform, other reforms, and there are some lessons of how you succeed and how you can do a better job for the people.
We are able to discuss within session and even after session, our tea breaks at lunch, we were able to relate to one another of how we could improve and work on the achievables within the new direction.
We want to make sure that we focus on the priorities that we can deliver for the people of Sierra Leone. That is what this retreat is about, is to build a high-performing team with a team spirit that can deliver and deliver on results, simply.
This is a new direction. We've set a high standard for ourselves. We should afford to live within that. Be professional. Deliver. We don't accept excuses. If you have a week to deliver, make sure within that week you do what you have to do to deliver. I will work as much as I can to provide the disciplined leadership necessary. And I want you to do the same. So ladies and gentlemen, I want us to feel free with one another. Walk seamlessly. Let's go down in history as the group of Sierra Leoneans who saved Sierra Leone.
Right, of course, so that was President Julius Maada Bio. Of course, they talked to ministers and other, departmental heads and agency heads. Of course, just like I would talk, say John Bull and Sef don't mix by this whole thing. Until when I see that with man where they talk, this now some of the expatriates the way. In fact, he was the facilitator. Nine helped, the government for put this team together for come with people that we don't operate now over 50 countries. Now countries that we then get difficulty for implement policy agendas, for able for implement programs, then for able for succeed and help their own countries. And they succeeded in doing those things. So the president he say it be necessary for, a whole session, 90 days after they don't take power, and for me they're able for learn from them people, then they ask to how they're able for operate in then countries, then they wait and succeed. So me feel say now a very positive step in the right direction. These are some of the things you do. We go a lead to good governance, because you see plenty of people then they when talk say the president don't make a lot of pronouncements. The president don't make an over-ambitious pronouncements then. But now, what is important is how is he going to follow up on those pronouncements? Whether he go able for follow up, whether he go able for keeping promise, and so everybody is looking up to him, right? And so, in order for him to succeed, I think so he get for deploy certain mechanisms that will help him, that will give him and his team to, succeed. And just the cow will tell people them before even the elections. We told people that a government not to one person they operate on. Now make when you wanna go to the polls or wanna vote, wanna not just look at the president or the presidential candidate. In just one person. Now in the driver, it's time like a way you don't go buy motor car, you and your family when I don't go inside for go some side. You the person where they drive, like you, if you the daddy of the house, if now you they drive, now you then at the driver's seat, now you they control how that motor car they go, how now they pass for going on a destination. But then there are other people in that vehicle as well. Where sometimes if you they meet gallop, sometimes they go tell you say, hey, daddy gallop there before you, or now you with the turn. So they go left for direct you, tell you drive fine. That is how government they operate. But during the election time, a lot of people then they focus more on the presidential candidate. They forget about the party where this person they come up from and the kind people that way they around the presidential candidate, right? So we get for look at the entire team. Don't just look at one person. Look at the entire team. Like when Maada Bio be the wrong. Not just look at Maada Bio, look at the people that way they around them. Because then people that way they around them, then are potential ministers in government, potential heads of departments, potential heads of agencies. And so we get for look at the entire team. So now this is the team right here where they work. Because the president ain't want to go able to do this job. No country don't when a president want to do the job. The only thing where good thing happen, now they get the praise. When bad things happen, now they get the blame as well. Because now the driver, now this driver's seat. So now that's they do. And if you say that was the right thing that they did, you know, however, me no say in Sierra Leone, God don't endow we with a very small country with about 7 million people, and the people that waiting at the country, whether they go school, they not go school, we are all very intelligent people. I mean, you go in up country, just forget about freedom force. Go up country, may you see how we fumble and they use their own brain, their own intellect, their own talent for men to do certain things them. Let you see how they do them. You know, like now then far is na Kaila on the streets, then get a village they would then call Folu. You go now Folu, see them and then how then they use clay, ordinary clay, for make pot. Then they make pot fine and shape and they get designs, you know, like you cannot even believe. And that pot, the way they don't dry that clay, where they don't dry and good one. If it come out now you aid, if for down a soft ground, another break. Pass it really for down a very hard ground or pantap rock, now you go break, now you go scatter. So these people do these things. Look them one the way they make them country close to them. Look the kind talents we then get. So we get enough human resources in the country. You know, plenty of people in the way they talk say we no need for look back at waiting a previous government that don't do. Let we just move forward. Well, it is not possible, because if you don't know who side they come out, you're not gonna know how to navigate your way for go who side they go. So now I make historical accounts of waiting the happen at a country very important. Because you see, people then get this talk here where they talk say government na continuity. When one government guy doing work, he left, then the other one pick up from who side stop it go before. That is true. But at the same time, it don't mean say with government na continuity, you get for do bad work because you feel say other person they can't take from you, then ain't supposed to solve your own problem. No. Well, unfortunately, that's how it's been happening in Sierra Leone. From 1961 to 2018. One government he come, he scatter all thing, he spoil all thing. Then the other one come, he fix them. Then the other one come, he spoil all thing. But who that will go blame for all of this? Now the one that will go vote. Because we know the vote objectively. We the vote on sentiment. When that critical decision making time don't come, we the vote on sentiment. We know the vote for reality. So, you know, we get Professor Way now, economist Way. One of the professors in the country, where he talk candidly about how we have not been able to use our human resources. So let us see that one day, and maybe we'll learn a little lesson from him. All right, stick around.
You are watching Sherix Broadcast Network.
Let's, Professor Yoma, let me bring you in. In your own estimation, what could you attribute the current state of affairs to?
Yeah, I want to beg your indulgence to address the politicians.
Go
first
on.
and foremost. Dr. Alpha Khan, great ideas. The fact that he said, oh, we are not in charge of the prices of our commodities, and therefore we have a bad deal. What I want to tell my friend is that the development paradigm has, for some time now, has changed from asset-based, that is your cocoa, your coffee, your minerals, has changed from that to knowledge-based, right? And if 10 years ago they had taken advantage of that paradigm shift and decided to invest in human resource development, because it is now knowledge is resting in the brains of human beings that now make money. Right? Now, so that excuse is given to me, really, it doesn't.
So the wrong things were prioritized.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what you're
it.
saying.
Yeah, you know, for instance, Malaysia, Singapore, Sierra Leone, Ghana, we started at the same starting line. Right? We are colonized by the same colonial masters. Look at where they are today. Even Ghana near us, yeah? I think sometimes we need to sit down and contextualize what has gone wrong. We have, Bernadette, Madam Lahai, hinted on that we have lacked a visionary leadership. Some leadership that really want to carve out a station where we want to go, how we get there, what are the resources that we need to get to that station in XYZ years. We have not done that. Right? And to me, until and unless we invest in the resource that we have, the primary resource we have in this country is human resource. Human resource. We have to invest in human resource. There was a time this country was the citadel of the Athens, right? Why didn't we take advantage of that? Everybody, people were coming from all over the world, academics, students, coming to on a pilgrimage to Frabe College.
Again, was that not by default because we had the only university in West Africa?
No, at that time, the other universities were emerging. But it was the name, the name that the college and the country had made for itself, right? And we needed to build on that. We didn't build on that, right? And therefore, we need, perhaps, to my mind, at times like this, we need to sit down and reflect. Where did we get it all wrong? What do we tell our kids in the schools? Some of them don't even know about some of the things we are talking about. Now, when the colonial masters, maybe if I can just left us, every district headquarter town had the basic facilities. Light, water, some paved road, right? You could travel to all of these places without any hindrance. If I'm coming to Freetown was like coming on a holiday or on a journey from outside your terrain. There was a time when if you came to Freetown, you would be stopped at Waterloo, you would not be allowed to come in. Right? Because what you were coming for, if it was for comforts of life, the habitability, was already present in those areas. Some of us didn't come to Freetown until we were ready to go to the university. Because we had everything we needed. In our villages, in our towns, where we went to school. So there will be no need to rush to Freetown to come out and congest Freetown. Up to 1967, when the SLPP handed power to APC, again, those facilities were present. Yeah? Up to 1967, 1968, 80, Frabe College, 1967 up to 1970, Frabe College was still the Athens. When I went to study in the UK, when I got to London, at the Victoria Railway Terminal, you can change your Leone'S to sterling at in London. That's how things were.
Are you missing those days?
Oh yeah. And yeah, yes. You know, then to me, to my mind, really, the critical point came when our president then decided to go on a ride by hosting the OAU, right? That OAU hosting was where the crucial point came.
In what sense?
In the sense that, one, that caused us to delink the Leone from the sterling, right? And we spent so much resources on the hosting and very little return.
Are you saying that got the country's economy?
Yeah, from that it started nosediving. Started nosediving. And that's where we need to focus. Why? Where did it all go wrong?
But was that not to prove to...
Right, of course, that's Professor Yoma, of course, we the lecture, you know, AYV journalist, because he's so young, you know what's in the go on. But anyway, yes, so this is a very important discussion where Professor Yoma bring up the human resources of the country. Now it will not be done to use, because we don't get very selfish leaders. The one that we didn't have power, they know either they were selfish or they were ignorant. Because if you are not ignorant, you go to steal thief but you got to still make things happen. Just like way Professor Yoma talk, we not don't get a visionary leader where they think about that station where it don't set and able to map out a plan as to how we'll get to that station, waiting we need for get to that station. We not don't get that kind of leader yet. We don't know if now this leader now will get because of how they see things they operate. Probably it will be that visionary leader. But every country needs a visionary leader. A visionary leader, now a leader will not just think about today. It think about 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years from the time we're in the rule. Waiting it go do now in office will go last up to that time. Whether not for build the human capacity in the country, whether not for build up some government institutions. Can you imagine in Sierra Leone, government is the only main employer in the country. All other people, the way they employ people, they're not half and half. Like then Lebanese, and then they employ with brother and sister. Then I make that they talk to we like how they want. But everything else they go through government. Either you get government work, or you work as a teacher. When a government they pay you, government they pay them. So we not only make a very good use of your human resources, and that we need for use. All right, with human resources, with Salone people, they're very intelligent. Not ever underrate Salone person. Whether they in a village, not go school, it gets a way where it able to come up with some ideas using his or her talent. Just like I would give you a few examples. So I feel say, any forward-looking government get for tap into the human resources of the country. And when we talk about human resources again, we are not only talking about people who went to school, we go college, we don't get a degree. Human resources can be found among even the uneducated people, the local people. So that is exactly what Professor Yoma is talking about. So but when they consider that since 1961, or let's say 1967, we're actually, let's say 1980, really, because now after we Shaka Stephen don't make now, Sierra Leone don't go through the OAU conference. We not be the host. We don't delink the pound sterling from your money, because then they all the British pound now be the use. Because maybe remember why they go school and get how they be called the crepe over the way. Is it panda crepe? No, not to panda, Dunlop, something like that. When they get this place in Abo, when they didn't make the shoes, then Bata, something like that. When you buy something, they last in your hand. Those were the times where Salone, they buy shoes 1 Leon, something like that. But from all don't get that OAU conference in the country. And now this APC, they're not one for we'll talk about. But this is the truth. All NTS so we happen, we make this country go beyond. It happened under the APC watch. Shaka Stephen, I bring the OAU. Shaka Stephen was the leader of the APC. So why would any APC member deny for say not to be under the watch this thing happen? Right? And so, me family, we just want for may you stick around as we continue for bring the programs into you. Of course, stick around with us as we are going to ensure that we bring more programming to you. Stick around with us.
It's Kabaka identity, in case you don't know. I don't fall for you, don't fall for you. My booty. Oh no 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 no. Crack twists and Sam's are there. Oh baby, what you feeling is true. Feeling is true. Even when you smile my cat, I can see it in you. See it in you. My love, there is no one like you. No one like you. Oh baby, I'm all here for you. For you to let other boy go, baby to come see me. For you to left overseas, baby if I can see me. Yeah.
It shows this love is real. It shows this love is big. It shows this love is true. For this, I want to marry you today, Magadi. Oh baby, I want to marry you with no delay, no delay. Just say you do, just say you do, girl. My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do,
baby. I do,
my love, just say you do. I
know the axe if I get meat. I know the axe but me X or the next cause I get fit. All of the axe now for one green finger for fix down me ring cause I desperate. They don't the axe if I get rich, but I get them cruise. Them pack na me estate. Call me Samza. Just wait, I just start to express me love and no estate.
You travel come over Sikanaya. I don't patiently wait for you Adenaya. Let we pray for we love them small fortune and avoid them plabber for small thing. You go to give me a one them dry eye, I go marry you san them. Let we left talk give them. We go to spot thing give them.
My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do.
Baby, I do.
My love, just say you do. I mean that, If you like me, then throw cut a pot of envy. I'm here for you. Say me not go give you anything. Baby say you don't see something. Oh nah, something better, something sweeter, something nicer. Do, girl.
Baby, I do.
Something better, something sweeter.
Baby, I do.
Something better, something sweeter. I mean that, I mean that, say baby Tiggy, just say you do. And so carry the wet you just say you do.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, that is Mahmoudeh with a new track titled Aminata. Of course, just like I would tell you, Salone people that we get talent, you know, we are very talented, you know. Now for we just need a small push for we're able for use with talents them. I mean, we don't watch Mahmoudeh and Rosie, they don't grow up to this level where they now where they see, you know, anytime we they do music, you know, it really get us Sierra Leonean beats. So they find time for we'll go able for bring Mahmoudeh and talk to him so that you go able for share your ideas then which one a little bit. And so, my family, today, just, you know, plenty of the things that we don't talk about, you know, the governance system, now the country, using our human resources, now the country, which make from 1961 to now, we country still they bien, you know, that kind of talk and day. And so, we get to your own brother, we now a very intellectual fellow, we instead of follow trends, now the country, and we are very passionate about ensuring that good things that happen at the country. It no matter who that do them things then they we now we own brother Mr. Patrick Pundu, who can normally call as, you know, Brother Bemba. So I get for talk to we now from Houston, Texas, live. Of course, now the city will say day. Now they want now big one, then they make things they happen, or they will remote how they run, and then why they make what they do then here, you know. Hello, Brother Bemba. How you doing today?
Oh, great.
That's good. That's good. Now, a big delight for we'll get you in a Sherix Broadcast Network. Of course, we want to start by telling you a lot of thanks and appreciation for all you know, advice so you can give in the background to some of the things that what they do. And we appreciate you for your passion for Let's Sierra Leone go move forward. So today, we want to talk to you a little bit about the country Sierra Leone. You know, as a Sierra Leonean, waiting na your general view of the country as it is right now.
Well, the country as it is right now is the country is not in a good state, but we are also in a position where, you know, this newly elected government has, with the support of the people, the capacity for, you know, move the country in a direction we go make we proud. But that can only happen if we put our, you know, personal judgment aside take a step back and say, why are things the way they are in Sierra Leone? Okay, and a lot of there's a lot of talk about how Bio is doing things that don't seem to be in line with what people want. Well, I disagree with that.
Right.
First of all, let's take a step back and see the government way, the country where Bio is heading right now, Sierra Leone.
Right.
We have to realize that Sierra Leoneans have been, in my opinion, one of the most hopeful people in the world. I say that because we've been through 10 years of war. We've had government that have disappointed people in the past, and so that's why we have the mindset of people that that we have right now in Sierra Leone. And so the mindset is born out of the fact that people have been disillusioned. People have been delusioned, used and abused by previous governments. And so right now, what I'm doing is I'm coming from a position of disinterest, meaning I detach my personal opinion and look at what a good governance is all about.
Right.
Okay. The first thing I want to look at is how is Bio going about enforcing the rule of law.
Right.
Okay, because the rule of law is very essential, one of the very essential components of good governance. Now, as I said, Bio has to deal with the mindset of people right now. For example, he has Bio has put in place laws that strictly strictly allocates or show what what are whose area na salon way people and for doing trading.
Right.
You understand it? But people who are defying the law will go on social media and try to distort what the law really is. So you got to look at you have to get the facts. You can't just take what people are saying from social media. You have to get the facts. What does the law say? What are the people doing? Is it right? And so by looking at the facts and then weigh the arguments from both sides, you can be able to make your own conclusion as to whether the man is doing the right thing or not.
Right.
To me, I think he's doing the right thing in that direction. And then another component of good governance has to be a consistency between politics and your policies.
Right.
Bio has already given the policies that he will adopt in his platform when he was campaigning. For example, this Bio told the nation, and in fact told the world, that he wants to bring about free education. So now, he's tackling that issue. We have to be patient. We have to, support him, because that's very important. We have to buy into our system. That's the first thing. We have to believe that whatever whatever somebody says is possible, not because we disagree with them, but we have to but because they may be passionate. There's certain things that they have people that they can put together,
right,
who will bring about the success of these ideas.
And Brother Bemba, some people in the way they talk say it's not necessary for let the president go talk about waiting a meet where he take over office, like we say it meet the worst economic condition ever since 1961. They say it not been necessary for let mention that. Let it just pick up from who side begin and go before. So if you say it necessary for ignore your history, why should they march into the future?
No, you cannot ignore your history, because if you ignore the history, then people will not, people will easily forget.
Right.
For example, the debt that that Bio inherited. You have to remind people of that history so that they will know. They will know the extent of the problem. Because right now, this is as I said, as I told some of my friends yesterday, I have no illusions that Bio is going to make Salone a path, make Salone economically free during the course of 8 years. No, but what I am, what I do believe in, that he has the capacity to take Sierra Leone in a new direction. He can position Sierra Leone in a position, position Sierra Leone to where the next government can be able to measure itself by the previous government yardstick. So you always have to measure, the present government always, has to, let people know where they're coming from and where they're headed. So I think, you cannot ignore that.
Right. And so this other thing about, in 2007, when the APC took over power from the SLPP, evidence they will exist for say plenty people and they will be get jobs them. When I be SLPP members, most of them lost their jobs, then they replaced them with some APC members. And with Maada Bio don't take over, INSEF then they accuse and say now the same thing INSEF don't do. It don't remove people then when are APC sympathizers, it don't replace them with SLPP members. Now, what do you think as a Sierra Leonean as to how we government and they operate in that way?
Well, this is not, this is not just a practice, by
right.
Bio. This is a practice that goes on everywhere.
Everywhere in the world, right?
It goes on everywhere in the world. You are, in fact, when you try to, bring into your campaign, people that have ideas, that's the incentive you give them for staying with you,
right,
all the way through. So, and in fact, this idea of replacing people in government, I think that's necessary, because you don't want to have the same the same brains, the same talents, while the government is headed in the wrong direction.
Right.
So there's always the need to try different, to try other talents.
So since President Bio don't kind of power, you're a concerned Sierra Leonean, you are passionate about the country. Waiting as if they watch you right now, they listen to you. Waiting a personal advice you go on for Gian with regards to Sierra Leone as a country.
Well, my personal advice to him, let it make sure let make sure you keep the passion for moving Sierra Leone forward alive. By that I mean, that passion will help him, to overcome his detractors, to focus on the issues that matter, not try to please one group or pity one group against the other, not to sow conflict, but to resolve them. So I think so, if he's hearing me right now, I want for let you say, serious-minded Sierra Leoneans are supporting him, regardless of our background or party affiliation. As long as he's doing, the best he can,
right,
to bring everybody together, Sierra Leone, will be there to support him.
And so, waiting at some of the things that way you feel say, in your opinion, since Julius Maada Bio don't take over the reins of governance in Sierra Leone, we not things that we don't do, we impress you, you know, where you want to talk about.
Okay. First of all, I want to talk about the greatest asset, Fatimata Bio.
Yes, right? The First Lady.
Fatimata Bio, Fatimata Bio demonstrated transparency firsthand when she took social media, you know, when he took social media and, you know, launched a cry to save a baby.
Right.
But not only, you know, not only did he get the world to respond to that cry, but he also, you know, went back on social media and told people exactly what the money was going to be used for, who will be in charge of the money. That's, you know, that's transparency.
Right.
I love her for that.
Right.
That's transparency. Then the other, you know, the other action we don't take, you know, what really impressed me is this finance act of what is it? By local content. Okay, this is exactly what all Sierra Leoneans agree on, which is we want opportunities to be created so that people can grow and flourish. Now, this law exactly puts Sierra Leonean in a position to have more jobs, because specifically the law, you know, the law is seeking, you know, is asking businesses to have 20% of their managerial position for Sierra Leoneans and 50% for the intermediate positions, you know, for Sierra Leoneans. That's a positive, you know, those are positive laws if enacted. Would not only create jobs, you know, but would expose and transform people, you know, who have the, you know, who have the right talent to occupy those positions. So I'm really impressed by those, you know, I'm really impressed by. And then, okay, I have to say, a third, you know, the third thing I'm impressed by is this idea of being non-complacent. He's non-complacent in this. I'll give you two examples.
Right.
The one is, you know, I know there are people who have, you know, who take issue with the fact that, you know, Bio is checking on, you know, checking on his ministers to make sure that they are, you know, they are in office on time. Okay, some people are saying, you know, wait a minute, you know, this is 24th century. Why can't you just pick up the cell phone and do that? Well, again, you have to know the mindset of people that we are dealing with. You know, this idea of, you know, oh, that part, you know, the partner occupied office there, you know, so whatever time you report in office, you know, you know, that's what we have to deal with. But by doing that, he's sending a message. He's sending a message to the world, you know, that he means business.
Right.
Okay. So if, you know, if people want to interpret it, you know, they have a right to interpret it whatever way they see it. But he's dealing with the mindset of people that has been long unchanging.
Right.
Okay. So that's how we have to look at it. And then we also have, you know, we should not forget the fact that before he became president, he was also a military guy, Brigadier Momo.
Right.
I mean, Brigadier
Julius Maada Bio.
General, retired General Bio.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means if he cannot find solution, he's not just going to look for solution, you know, within the civilian realm, but if he can also, you know, find solutions such as, you know, enforce discipline in the country, which I believe is one of the qualities that people saw in him, you know, to be president of that country. He has to, you know, he has to enforce discipline so that, you know, Sierra Leoneans know that this time business means business.
Definitely. Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this now Mr. Patrick Bundu, commonly known as Brother Bemba. Of course, he talked to me today from Houston, Texas, Usai headquarters day. With time, Brother Bemba will come live inside the studio for Leona Gostiam, where he talk to him. Very passionate about Sierra Leone. Big brother, once more, want to say a lot of thanks to you for your time and for the knowledge we share with we. Thank you very much, sir.
It's my honor and duty.
Yes, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Brother Bemba. Of course, for just share some of in thoughts that which we not make able for Brancan today. And of course, one for me, stick around as we continue for bring the programs into you. Stick around with us.
It's Cammy, baby. It's Mother
Kabaka ENT, in case you don't know. I don't fall for you, don't fall for you. My booty. Oh no, 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 no. Crack twists and Sam's are there. Oh baby, what you feeling is true. Feeling is true. Even when you smite my cat, I can see it in you. See it in you. My love, there is no one like you. Oh baby, I'm all here for you. For you to let other boy go, baby to can see me. For you to let focus see, baby for can see me. Yeah. It shows this love is real. It shows this love is big. It shows this love is true. For this, I want to marry you today, Magadi. Oh baby, I want to marry you with no delay, no delay. Just say you do, just say you do, girl. My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do,
baby. I do,
my love, just say you do. I mean that.
I know the axe if I get meat. I know the axe for me X or the next cause I get fit. All of the axe now for one green finger for fix them me ring cause I desperate. They don't the axe if I get rich, but I get them cruise, them pack na me estate. Call me Samza. Just wait, I just start to express me love and no estate.
You travel, come over, Sikanaya. I don't patiently wait for you, Adenaya. Let we pray for we love and small fortune, and avoid them plaba for small thing. You go to give me a one them, dry eye, go marry you, san them. Let we left talk, give them. We go to spot thing, give them.
My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do.
Baby, I do.
My love, just say you do. I mean that, If you like me, then throw cut a pot of envy. I'm here for you.
Right, my family that now Mahmoudé once more, of course, from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Aminata, and the track entitled, of course, I like the young man, they do very well. Of course, we got plenty of other musical artists that will go for the future live from here. And so, ladies and gentlemen, next we want to talk about the First Lady, Fatima Maada Bio. Of course, this week here, so he paid a visit to Geneva. We gonna Geneva for talk on child prostitution in Sierra Leone, where Africa generally, but use Sierra Leone as a case study. So it go and able for meet with quite a lot of people. Then we cry to them for me able for do something about child prostitution in Africa, especially in Sierra Leone. And so let's see how the First Lady performed whilst they did it from our newscast.
Her Excellency Fatima Maada Bio, First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, delivered a speech today at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. The conference with the theme, Girls with No Name, is an unapologetic look on the issue of child prostitution in West Africa, using Sierra Leone as a case study. The First Lady in her speech did not mince words, and spoke objectively about the subject. She said sometimes these kids provide for their families through prostitution. This is absolutely not the responsibility of a child, but it is a social reality we face today. As depraved as it may seem, sometimes parents introduce their kids to prostitution. 10 years of civil war, and the Ebola epidemic did not help matters. Child prostitution is a taboo subject. But she as the First Lady is ready to be the voice. The First Lady further went on to say, women children are often the poorest and most marginalized. Many are illiterate and unskilled. Issues of sexual abuse continues to be areas of concern. As First Lady and someone passionate about women and children, I will use my position to bring awareness to the international community about the plight of girls in my country. I have no budget of my own for programs that will help to better the lives of these honorable people. I am here to learn and find a solution. I have no authority to make or pass laws. Don Bosco Famble is an organization that is visibly helping in its little way in Sierra Leone. I have vowed to highlight the plight of our vulnerable children in my country. I am here today, calling on everyone here present, to consider, and seriously look into Sierra Leone. Our First Lady went on to outline the benefits of the free education program in the fight against child prostitution. The new direction goes beyond talking about societal ills, but actually embarking on workable solution-based programs.
Right, and so my family just like how na see under the First Lady go na Geneva and able for deliver day. Of course, this is what we expect of a First Lady. This is what we expect of a Sierra Leonean First Lady, for taking up on very important issues where they affect women and children. And of course, child prostitution, as we all know, is rampant in Sierra Leone. In fact, in last year, we see plenty body them way people that they go use them, picking them, and they end up for kill them, especially in them beaches. Then we see plenty of them body them. So it's very important that able for take up on these issues. And before even in Monday aspire for be presidential candidate of the SLPP, Fatima had been engaged in fighting for these girls, because things don't go bad in the country to the extent that now the mami they will born them picking, and then they send them picking for go do prostitution, so then go able for bring food now us. So this is bad, and so it is good that the First Lady of the country don't take up this issue as a very important issue, and where it deal with it. I don't take it out to the highest level. Now in the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. I mean, can you imagine this? Now the world body, now they don't crangle now. So hopefully something positive will come out of this, and that we'll go able for control how things and they happen in the country. But doing these things, I mean, you will go show face and all of that, but it boils down to engaging the young children, especially the girls, the boys, engaging them, because you see, young people, they not get patient for sit down idle, they not get nothing for do, they not get money, they not get hope, then they live in hopelessness and despair. They not get time for that. Young people always want to be occupied doing something. So if they're not getting nothing for do, they resort to these very bad things, them just like I don't see. So I think there has to be a very good modality where government go put together for ensure they don't deal with a situation like this. Very important. All right. And so once more, we're going to bring that university back to now. Then we'll go move on to Dr. Samora Kamara, an interview with Gina AYV TV. We'll get for Branca to you and analyze them properly. Stick around with us.
Her Excellency Fatima Maada Bio, First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, delivered a speech today at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. The conference with the theme, Girls with No Name, is an unapologetic look on the issue of child prostitution in West Africa, using Sierra Leone as a case study. The First Lady in her speech did not mince words, and spoke objectively about the subject. She said sometimes these kids provide for their families through prostitution. This is absolutely not the responsibility of a child, but it is a social reality we face today. As depraved as it may seem, sometimes parents introduce their kids to prostitution. 10 years of civil war, and the Ebola epidemic did not help matters. Child prostitution is a taboo subject. But she as the First Lady is ready to be the voice. The First Lady further went on to say, women children are often the poorest and most marginalized. Many are illiterate and unskilled. Issues of sexual abuse continues to be areas of concern. As First Lady and someone passionate about women and children, I will use my position to bring awareness to the international community about the plight of girls in my country. I have no budget of my own for programs that will help to better the lives of these honorable people. I am here to learn and find a solution. I have no authority to make or pass laws. Don Bosco Fambul is an organization that is visibly helping in its little way in Sierra Leone. I have vowed to highlight the plight of our vulnerable children in my country. I am here today, calling on everyone here present, to consider, and seriously look into Sierra Leone. Our First Lady went on to outline the benefits of the free education program in the fight against child prostitution. The new direction goes beyond talking about societal ills, but actually embarking on workable solution-based programs.
All right, and so that's the First Lady. Of course, once more, Fatima Maada Bio, of course, in go na Geneva, and that is what she did. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we get for move on. Of course, next we get for talk about Dr. Samura Kamara. Of course, Bingi, a very exclusive interview na AYV TV. Of course, since he lost the election to retired Brigadier-General Julius Maada Bio, and that's gonna be one of his main major interviews where he give to that network in Sierra Leone. And so we did take that interview and try for analyze and thoroughly foresee if waiting to talk about now things then we make sense or we don't make sense. All right, and so we get for start with the fact that it talks something we make raise me eyebrow, but we all know that but can I confirm the talk say the appointment into the position of a flag bearer or presidential candidate for the All People's Congress, now the president, the former president, Anes Baikromana Indwam, with some NAC members. Well, what are the NAC members? The only one then they were there around the president. We already know. So whatever the president tell and IDB. So now then come together and show them. But really now the president now make that choice. So let's listen to the interview with Samura Kamara. Stick around.
Very grateful and thankful to the people of this country for actually appreciating my flag bearership of the party.
How would you describe the conciliatory steps from a technocrat to that of a giant politician in the 2018 elections?
First, it was very difficult. I remember during the campaign for flag bearership, although I was not on the forefront, but I could hear vibes when my name started coming out. Some people were saying, they're not Sabi himself. Nobody knew him. Others were saying, we are going to market him, etc., etc. But then I think God has his way of doing things. By the time my name was called at the McKinney Convention, it just resonated. And I think this was supported also by two signs that appeared. First, the heavy rainfall, and second, the rainbow that just showed. And then by the time we got to Freetown, the whole thing was my name electrified, as it were, the country. With the jargon say, you sabi am, yes, we sabi am, want you sabi am. yes, we sabi, yes, we sabi, I'm na virgin, all of these things. Now, when you put all of this together, you feel humbled, and that you are a privileged and honored person.
Yeah, of course, that now Dr. Samura Kamara and I did talk about, we them being appointed for be the presidential candidate for the APC. Of course, plenty of we know say that decision, they not so like how SLPP then take a decision wherein it was democratic, that all the delegates then where they from all over the country then amass themselves in Freetown and then take a then votes decisively and then elect Julius Maada Bio to be the presidential candidate. On the same day where APC then did McKinney, they did not vote. In fact, the one day way now people that way now been candidates and way been get for contest the election. In fact, they make sure say they get one bus for them. Where the bus take them, care and go now the hotel. They are guarded, they know they come out. The bus, they take them again from the hotel to the convention hall. That's how it happened. And so they never get that freedom for interact with people and for let person not able for brainwash them, let person not able for change their mind about waiting the president be one for do. So at the end of the day, it was the president who actually appointed Dr. Samura Kamara for be the presidential candidate of the APC. And so looking at that very action, just by the action itself, looking at it, I cannot imagine that out of 7 million people, or out of the 3-point-something million people who were registered for votes in Sierra Leone, that one person could choose whether for decide on their future. Because by appointing Dr. Samura Kamara, and if he been win that election, then by default, now Ernest Bicroman, I don't decide on the fate of Sierra Leoneans for the next 5 years. I cannot just imagine that. I think say we constitution need for be reviewed in that aspect for say we're not for the just left political parties then for me them do things then like how they want. We forget small, micromanagement when it comes to those things. That even though you are an independent, political party, but certain procedures then the way you're supposed to follow, wait for them in line with the national constitution of the country. Because if the national constitution of the country is saying that in order for us to have a president, that president must go through the democratic processes. That president or presidential candidate has to have a running mate, and both of them are to be voted for by the people of Sierra Leone. So if that is what the national constitution is saying, and the national constitution surpasses the powers of the national constitution, surpasses the powers of any individual political party constitution. So what to make the national constitution not go just override waiting people that you do not them parties in the, because democracy get for start from grassroots going up. So the people are properly represented at whatever level. But that idea of one person appointing a presidential candidate for a whole political party made up of very intelligent, very educated, very experienced people. Up to today, they beat me. I'm not able to understand, how APC members go left something like this happen. I mean, look all them man that will go school inside the APC. Then they go with this idea, say, oh, our party was formed on this basis. Now, so Shaka Stephen be they do. So we say again for continue for do. Ladies and gentlemen, for goodness sake, times have changed. Things that will be they happen inside 1960, 67, 1970, 78, not to the same thing they happen today. So this thing they make una all when APC members so una dey inside that party. We don't say una get very intelligent people. Una get very experienced people, highly educated people. But by the action we allow Ernest Bicroman in one grade for make that single-handed decision, it don't make una all don't look like say una not sabi nothing. This is just the truth. I mean, I don't say somebody they will go sit down some side where they wait here they talk, you know go glad, you know go like wait here they talk. But this is the truth. I mean, one great person not get my stand up to Ernest Bai and tell and say, you're not president at national level, but when we come to this party level, we need for stand up to certain issues. We need for discourse as party members. Your powers as president not candoya. Obaya, so this is how we're supposed to operate. You guys had the right to amend your constitution for making go fit waiting they happen today in the world, all over the world. Whosoever democracy day. So when Ernest Bai do that one day, waiting na the result of waiting a do. Right? Let us see what happen after we don't make that decision. Waiting happen na the country. All right, we get for bring that whole thing to now. Just 1 second as we try for put them together properly so that you're able to forget time. Okay, stick around.
10 minutes now. We go give Mama. Let's go back to. That's what you say. You follow up. That's what you say. Any of where's ready for follow. That's what you say. That could be a man. I'm a Kenny brother. And that's what look on this video, man. Now no say you can hang. Now it is. Now I'm Kenny no more. That's what ABC no say. Me. I'm Kenny no more. No. Oh, yeah. So. That's what Kenny no more against alone. Eh. When I saw no. I'm not so much. I said do we. Well, everybody that trusts in the Lord shall be at 1,000. Don't believe God. God for all man. Some can call him Sotesa, they are not mortal man. And they are afraid of the shadow. They are what you achieve. I'm telling you. Calm down. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Talk. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Talk. I kill boss. It's not so. Yeah, you have 5 army, brother. Would they eat in a company when they are 5 minutes? Now stop the balance. APC not get money this man. Say I put money where I get this man. This man I put money. APC this man. Uno. Kubota.
Right, of course. So you see, this is what we are talking about. This is the result of bad decision, you know. And, you know, in as much as we they blame Ernest Bai for that decision we make, me know they blame and reach like all the other people that way they around that. I mean, if we don't reach to a point that even when Ernest Bai they talk about something will not make no sense, people they clap for him. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. You know, if you don't read that point, and you know, the man was so cocky. You see, when God can want for bring somebody down, and they make, you know, they hear nobody in world, they become cocky. The man just destroy APC. I mean, I don't know, me not a member of APC, you know, but would not get for stand up to this man. That is what democracy is all about. The constitution of the APC must be changed. We will not forever get chairman for life. I mean, we get plenty of young men that are highly intelligent people, highly educated people, experienced people. But when they left sit down, one great man, they foolish the party like that one day. You know? I mean, with all the accolades Dr. Samura Kamara gets and everything, will not take that one day away from there. He's a highly intelligent gentleman. He get diplomatic, accolades them, he get experience in governance systems, he get all of that. We are not taking that away from them. In fact, we forgive some credit to the SLPP because now they make it beef up in resume to that way, because now they get all them places and they will say they work. But the manner in which he was forced on the APC was not right. I mean, look at Kefala Maradem. These are very intelligent people who then say be in that position. But the person will be sorry for more than two people then, that JFK will make a lot of noise. JFK make a lot of noise. JFK be physically sabi book pass all man, I sabi the law, I do this, that man will be cocky bad. I remember one day when I call him, the way they talk at the phone safe, like saying sabi law pass all man. But the one day and it's by chroma rubbish and pass the all. 30 they are not hearing about it. Pastor the way they swear, Charles Maga into office where I see him around. Because he had to hand over. But look like Kefala Maradem. Of course, Alpha Khan, I'm not going to talk about him. So APC, this is time for you guys to work. I understand for say 1962 when I lost election to SLPP, you guys became the most formidable opposition of that country. Now that make way when I come back and when I able to tie the votes with the SLPP. And then when Chief Kashamba and Chief Mbrewa will then pass over to now that make when I be winning 1967 elections. And that's why you stayed in power for 34 years. So I would say 24 years before the military de pull. Alright? So, this is just bad. I mean, look how people were so frustrated. They could not understand that decision. So now money no more than go waste na McKinney, then go spend boku money na McKinney, and as by Chroma and picture they all over the walls, then inside the conference, inside the convention hall. Then big bosses then make all man cook, the McKinney boil then 10 a day. Spend money for nothing. For like one great man just make decision. If maybe they inside the APC, I know say now this one great man own decision would they go listen to, I wouldn't have gone there. Because what you make at the go day, my voice no matter, my opinion no matter, my democratic rights were not there. So why am I going to McKinney for? So I think so this is a wake up call for now all inside the APC. And so before we get for continue for bring the programs to you, stick around with us. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so let me talk about Samura Kamara and they talk about how SLPP they run government. Let me listen to some of the talks and we talk about that as well, and then we will talk about them. All right?
That's the concern in him trying to consolidate his victory, and that's why. As you do so, you need to get the confidence of the people. But this has been interrupted, as I said, by this spate of violence and intimidation and some of the orders that have come up, And I do hope perhaps as we move forward, we'll move away from this and go into pure civilian rule by consultation, by participation, by continued. Normally, we say you have to gain the confidence of the people in a different way, not by orders, but by letting them understand the importance of policy.
So personally, you think these executive orders that have been issued are out of place?
No, the substance may be in place, but the manner of transmitting the orders. That's why I said, as a leader, he also has his transition to make. So that's one major concern. The next concern is As a new government, whether you like it or not, outside public confidence, you need to start to gain international recognition. And that's why your diplomatic skills and diplomatic exposure and the way you cultivate the international community is very important. And mind you, the international community is not a homogeneous group of persons or institutions. They are different. So therefore, they also need different ways of cultivating them. You have the donors, you have the institutions, you even have the vulture type of business people who will be running after you. Because the new dispensation, they want to take advantage of the newness of the leaders. They come with all sorts of favors, all sorts of programs, which look very sexy, very useful. But then when you come to look at them seriously, they are like what we call a bag of wind. You know, they are empty. So you need that effort. How do you gain, consolidate, and build the confidence of the international community? But the biggest third one, pressing issue, is you need a time where you are inheriting a country. How do you move forward with peace, security, stability, and development? These four elements are very critical. But what is happening, the way you do it is not by continued condemnation of the past regimes. No.
Is that what is happening now?
Yes. You have to put that at the back of your mind. Continuity is the essence of any government. One government comes, does its bit, it goes, another government comes, does its other, and goes. You cannot continue to negate the achievements of previous governments or to talk low on that government or on the country. Because anything that is negative against your country has international bad reputation. It's not helpful for you as well. To say since 1961 Sierra Leone has not developed, I think we should leave that type of narrative. It's not a good narrative. Everybody knows that this country has moved on. From 1960 independence to now, we have all survived. If you look at the trend, Sierra Leone has not been sitting down. Yes, there have been mistakes, but there have also been some success stories. So just build on this, consolidate the strengths that you meet, and then correct the mistakes and come up with new ideas.
Personally, do you think the city is at play here? That is to say, when the current president took over, he said this is the worst economy since independence.
Yes, I don't believe that story. With respect to the president, but that is not quite accurate. I would not have put it that way. I could have said perhaps I've inherited a number of challenges. From 1961 to now is a long period. He grew up. He was born perhaps during this period. He went to school during this period. He had his military career during this period. He became president during this period. Chairman of council, synonymous to president during this period. Okay. What you can say is a country develops in phases. And that's what development is all about. I can tell you exactly the challenges of the country during the first decade, 1961 to 1970. I can tell you the challenges from 1970 to the 1980. I can tell you the challenges in the 80s, in the 90s, and the challenges from the time peace was established, 2002, to where we are as of today. So each period has its own theme, it has its own challenges. I can tell you for one typical example. After the peace was signed in 2002, I returned to the Commonwealth Secretariat. I was called at the end of 2001 to come back and lead the Ministry of Finance under President Kaba. It was the SLPP government. I served them in 1996 until the war in 1997. So I came back, and when I came, I know the biggest challenge after we had the demobilization the disarmament, the reintegration of peasants and the soldiers and the militants and everything. The next stage was to start to build a strong foundation for institutions. And this is what happened in the first 5 years, 2002, 2007. That's why we started building institutions. Any country without strong institutions will not survive. And that's why the governance program, the reform program that was promoted during that decade, those 5 years, helped to build a strong foundation for the country to continue in the next 5 and the next 5, the next 10 years, where you started seeing tangible.
All right, and so this now Dr. Samora Kamara again. Now they talk about how Ibn Fise Julius Maada Bio for rule. Well, I don't know. I mean, the suggestions they make, and you know, saying SSF not gets any powers for able to suggest to Julius Maada Bio how it for rule. But according to him, you know, for the SLPP government, they call things by their names. First of all, he's not against the executive orders, but he just feels it is very military, not too appropriate for the citizens. Well, that is not what we have received from the citizens. You know, from where the president don't take over the reins of governance in Sierra Leone, he don't issue out executive orders, and we have seen Sierra Leoneans complying with those executive orders. You know, starting from the last Saturday cleaning to going to offices, you know, 8:30 in the morning to 4:45 p.m. and, you know, holding meetings in public auditoriums and then kind of thing. So I don't see one green Sierra Leone don't complain. If they complain, a corner they complain, but one green Sierra Leone not don't use in liberty as a Sierra Leonean to voice opinion or to, you know, to voice a challenge to waiting the president or order. But, you know, Samora Kamara, they give you a clue for say, if not him be president, enough for don't call things then by their order, especially we been get an agenda of continuity. The agenda for continuity, 9 for don't be, so anything we and his Bakroma don't do, you know, they talk about them. If I don't rub under the carpet, because in believe in diplomatic talks them, you don't believe in talking straight, you know. And I don't know if some of the, you know, let me just see, you know, one of the executive orders will come up from the president, especially where the check on people that are the offices then for see if then they in the offices there on time. I feel say that is the most appropriate thing where it do, just like how Brother Patrick Bundu with the talk. Quite recently, I mean, by just looking at him going to UU building and they go up from office to office, whether this Sidonia Wade minister, you know, the man left notes for him. These are very good things for the president to do, especially thinking about whose side we don't come out as a country, right? Let us see how the president will do that.
I didn't know the UU building as the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, Kawakana for check each and every office that within whether the staff then they come on time for follow up on the 8:30 pronouncement where we make at the Sherix TV Stadium where we make in thank you tour. We go take you through all in Wakawaka and the offices them now today. 24 after 8 this morning, the president Mingo Waka at the building we get Boku at the ministries them. President Bio inside the first week when we take office, min talk say all public officials for go work by 8:30 in the morning for make it see say this law the whole water. The president Mingo watch for himself at the U building we get over 9 ministries them day. During the time where the president Mingo Waka and me find out say Boku senior staff them in the office and same way so some nomicates where he get for left notes them for. The one day women can late where the president may don't enter the building, then nomi allow them for go inside. Say where the president commode.
Brian, where the best one?
He's not in yet.
Not yet. Can I leave a note for him?
Yes.
Hold on.
Excuse me.
I'm always at 7:30. Okay. My minister is supposed to be on radio now.
Yes.
We know. Yeah, it's on radio, yes. Okay. But we are here always. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, Mr. Minister.
He began 98.1 this morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, How are you?
So we for travel with the minister today go Sulema, Bondapi, Shenge, and Bo. But we be ready for Bona. We took our get program. So we get them for maintenance. No pass through now.
So no cancel some for traffic. Okay.
Some party ministers are not in the building like health minister, fisheries and information minister, women day out on official work them. The staff the women day praise the president for the worker where he go worker at the U building, and same we so say this now warning for all government workmen them as them go before for talk say the president don't really show say he committed to waiting him the promise inside a manifesto.
Profession I'm holding at the clinic now. We of course will come by 7, 7:15 we don't come. So I hope say we'll continue for them check spots there. Hey, necessary. That will give awareness we as workmen and say we will talk work them very serious.
For make up say that will accept work them. And when you can now place you not because you don't take time between. If you don't come before you walk.
Supposed to be the role model. Since that he has come to such a public place like this, this will ginger everybody to it's very excellent, very good example. So that everybody will change, will copy from him and do the right thing. Because he's the only president that is doing the right thing as of now. But could people believe say the worker with the president go worker they could bring discipline back na the country for AY.
All right. So yes. So this now some of the one of the executive orders from State House where the president say all man for go work 8:30 in the morning all the way to 4:45 p.m. and the president go check in Sese for see people in the dorm. So Dr. Samura Kamara the talk say the president was very harsh the way he implement the executive orders, and so I don't know. Me not agree with that. I disagree totally with that. You see, the level at which Sierra Leone is, this not a time where this country for entertain any particular, if for entertain sentiments, if for do things with soft hands, the president get for stand firm. Because can you imagine we don't get used to these corrupt practices, like a lackadaisical approach to work for so many decades. And so again, for take a very strong leader for able for change the way people that they view their jobs in that country. So I feel say the president anyway, all man don't praise them for the executive orders, and I don't see anybody we don't we not the praise them for the executive orders except Dr. Samura Kamara per this interview we talk. So that gives you an idea as to how if we don't the rule if he was president. Now the continuity now for don't the same continuity. And I don't know what to make it choose even that mantra. I mean, for let you talk, say, all man they crying at the country. All man they suffer at the country. Then you say they continue with the agenda where the president gets. You know, able to stand on your own and come up with another agenda. You say continuity. Continue with what? With suffering? People then they go to bed hungry. People then not get food for it. You sick, you go to hospital, now die, they die. Is that what the continuity is that you wanted the people to continue with? But anyway, so me family, these are some of the things. And the other thing where Dr. Samura talk about now how the SLPP government they give positions to Sierra Leoneans in the country. According to him, SLPP not supposed to remove anybody from the position and put another person there. So to me, I look at the whole thing as a double standard. Me know me, your man them. Plenty of them will be get good job. Now the airports, now the government parastatals, when I be SLPP members before Chiyankaba they left in 2007. When the APC took over the reins of governance in that country, they pull all them people in there from their jobs, then sack them all, then replace them with APC members. Then replace them all. So I don't know what's in the president they talk about. I mean, Samora Kamara they talk about. Una don't do this. In fact, una be worse. Because even Anes by Kroma in cabinet, or where you watch and something, one Southeasterner you see inside it, or two at least. Everybody else you have to be from Northern Province. So if Nauna they cry right now for say SLPP then they put people in positions. First of all, not a angry person get in position in there. The position is available to everybody. So if you don't work there for some time, you should not be permanent in that position. Somebody else should come and replace you so that there should not be that complacency wherein you feel say, oh, you are very comfortable with your job now, you want to get other Sierra Leoneans are suffering. It does not work like that in any country where you want for advance. You work for that time, when your time not done, you pack and come out, somebody else come and replace you. Now we could not forget permanent people in permanent positions. We should have permanent systems. And even the systems are not for be permanent. Because every time you get for upgrade the system, you put people in there. But there should be a system that should be operable by any Sierra Leonean who qualify for operator. Maybe not just small training you need. I mean, look like the countries that also there. When you don't get new job today, they take you to that job, then they train you how to do that job. You know me say, Pastor, you angry for do that job. That if you know they know other person not able to do that work there. No, it doesn't work like that. But Dr. Samora Kamara, they assume say that's how Efodon they operate in Sierra Leone. So let us see what he say about that as well. Stick around with us.
The voice of the leader, the national leader, is very important. So I was, hopefully when we saw him as a party, we saw his team, they set up a committee. While that committee was at work, I think it would have also been advisable if he had also come up with a public statement to say, my supporters, we have won this election. Please refrain from all of this. I am a president of the country, as he always says. If you are president of the country, so therefore you don't want any one part of the country or one tribe of the country or one group of the country to intimidate the other. We are all one and the same people. And I always say, Charlie, 7 million. What is 7 million people? But we have more problems than China having 1.4 billion people. There's more discipline in China, even in India. I think that's a very big challenge. Why are we not disciplined? So therefore, one of the pressing issues for the government is to build nationalism, patriotism. But the way you do it is by, when you say inclusive governance, it must be inclusive in real sense. I am not saying you don't have an opportunity to bring your own people in governance. But as you do so, it's be done in an orderly manner, where you do not shift Samuel, who has been working with Samura for all these years. You lift him up and give him a higher position, either in the same or in the same institution or in some other institution. And then those others who are working with Samura, who had also been working with Samuel in the same ministry or in the same department, because they come from the north, you marginalize them. So the question I ask, what has brought the change in these other people? Are they new? They are not. Or the question would be, were they insiders passing on information? If they did it to Samora Kamara, believe you me, he'll also do it to you. Because there's a sense of dishonesty, unreliability. And Sierra Leone, no one tribe today has what it requires to generate the type of public service that we would want to move Sierra Leone. No, it's not possible. It's not possible.
Right, so that is Dr. Samora Kamara. They talk about how SLPP for done the issue out jobs to Sierra Leoneans. Then not for put Samuel and replace her with Sam and all that stuff. Man, you guys did even worse than that. 2007, when I pull all the SLPP members that will be get positions before Tijan Kabadi left. With Tijan Kabadi left, when I pull all man, when I replace them, and when I replace them, the SLPP members they not make one noise. Then go sit on Safu, so much suffer pass with this government on Canada, they don't begin get them jobs then back. So just like how we talk with the microphone be off, what we talk was that we should not have permanent people in permanent positions in Sierra Leone. We should have permanent systems that is operable or that are operable by any Sierra Leonean. Any side where you dare not you forget this mentality to say no, you not get for it forever. You get for it for some time. When you time down, they replace you with somebody else. You know, because there are 7 million Sierra Leoneans. Why do you think that you want great for them at this position? And especially when the country not go before, you know, that agenda of continuity, they don't tell you in a new direction don't come. So if you've been in a position, why if you say you be on the day in a position where in the agenda for continuity? So why if you say the new direction for left you in that position? Why do you think that? So now that's people that know they understand about governance, then they can complain, boku. Who wanna be do this thing to SLPP? People then go sit on Safu, they don't make noise. One great noise SLPP members they don't make. But as they don't, Maada Bio don't take over, the noise is all over the place. You right? So these are some of the ways that we would do things as Sierra Leoneans, and we expect, you know, big changes to happen. But anyway, family, so we get for come to the end of this program today. Of course, like I've been saying today in a short program, and so we can't close on now. We're not able to open the lines because we get small problem with internet connections today. One of the device don't bug, so with the manager. So we try for stopper now, but we'll stop with Mahmoud and in music. Next broadcast in a week from now, we'll be able to open the lines and you'll be able to talk. All right. So once more, Sherix Broadcast Network, and stick around with us.
The voice of the leader, national leader. So I was hopefully when we saw set up a committee. Why is that?
It's Cammy, baby. It's my
Kabaka ENT, in case you don't know. I don't fall for you, don't fall for you. My booty. Oh no 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 no. Crack twist and Sam's are there. Oh baby, what you feeling is true. Feeling is true. Even when you smite my cat, I can see it in you. See it in you. My love, there is no one like you. No one like you. Oh baby, I'm all here for you. For you to let other boy go, baby to can see me. For you to let for see, baby for can see me. It shows this love is real. It shows this love is baby. It shows this love is true. For this, I want to marry you today, Magadi. Oh baby, I want to marry you with no delay, no delay. Just say you do, just say you do, girl. My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do, baby. I do, my love, just say you do. I mean that.
I know the axe if I get meat. I know the axe but me X or the next cause I get fit. All of the ask now for one green finger for fix them me ring cause I desperate. They don't they ask if I get rich, but I get them cruise, them pack na me estate.
Call me Samza.
Just wait, I just start to express me love and no estate.
You travel, come over, Sikanaya. I don't patiently wait for you, Adenaya. Let we pray for we love and small fortune, and avoid them plaba for small thing. You go to give me a one them, dry eye, I go marry you, san them. Let we left talk, give them. We go to spot thing, give them.
My baby, just say you do. I mean that, oh love, just say you do. Baby, I do. My love, just say you do. I mean that, If you like me, then throw catapult of envy. I'm here for you. Say me not go give you anything. Baby say you don't see something. Oh nah, something better, something sweeter. Just say I do, girl. Baby, I do. Something better, something sweeter. Baby, I do. Something better, something sweeter. I'm in that I'm in that say baby Tiggy, just say you do. And so carry the weight you just say you do. Baby
It's Cammy, baby. It's Mother
Kabaka ENT, in case you don't know. I don't fall for you, don't fall for you. My booty. Oh no. Crack twist and Sam's are there. Oh baby, what you feeling is true. Even when you smile, my cat, I can see it in you. My love, there is no one like you. Oh baby, I'm all here for you. For you to let other boy go, baby to come see me. For you to let oversee, baby for can see.